An update on a story we first brought you was developing last night. It's now been confirmed that a shooting happened at the Unicorn Pub in Holyoke. Police responded to the pub on High Street last night around 8:45 after receiving reports of a shooting inside the pub. When officials arrived, they found a single male victim on the floor who had been shot several times. Officers gave first aid to that victim while they secured the scene. The victim was transported to a local hospital. He's now in stable condition. Police tell Western Mass News that the suspect walked out of the pub following the shooting. He is described as a dark-skinned male around 5'9", wearing dark clothing. No other injuries have been reported. The incident is under investigation. If you have any information on what happened, you're being asked to contact the Holyoke Police Department.